everyone, and welcome back to another tutorial from the Minecraft Create mod, where today we are going to be creating this, which is one of those contraptions that looks about 1,000,000 times more complicated than it actually is. But what this is doing is it is creating both granite and andesite for us. This is a 2-in-1 combo. And we can do that because granite and andesite are both made in pretty much exactly the same way. So if I bring up JEI on this side and we have a quick little look at granite, we can create that by combining 2 flint with some red sand and lava, crushing it down, and then we will get granite out of it. And then if we have a little look at andesite, you will notice it is pretty much exactly the same. The only thing that has changed is that we need to have gravel going in instead of red sand. And so if we take a quick little look at our farm, we can see how it is working. We have got lava being generated up at the top using the usual vanilla method of dripping lava through dripstone into cauldrons. That is then being drawn down into a large fluid container where it's then distributed into 2 basins on either side out here. These then have either red sand or gravel fed into them to create either our granite or our andesite, and in the middle we've got a large storage of flint which is also being fed into both of our basins. The whole thing is powered using 2 water wheels at the back, and there's also one little water wheel down at the bottom as well which is running our belts for us. So let's have a little look at what ingredients we need in order to make this farm. And you will notice first of all that we do have some brass components, so we do have a rotation speed controller and a couple of brass funnels. These aren't strictly necessary, the farm will work without them, they just make things a little bit faster and a little bit more streamlined, but you can get away with not using these. It does also use 20 cauldrons and 2 hoppers, so we are quite heavy on the iron front as well. We've also got both of the mechanical presses which use an iron block, so you're definitely going to want an iron farm before you start this. And you have also got a few little copper bits and pieces as well. But let's have a little look and see how we actually go about making this farm. And the first thing you're going to want to do is decide where you want your flint storage to be, and then dig down by 3 blocks. And place your item vaults into there, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 on top, and then 3 on top of there. This is going to give us storage for 180 stacks of flint. From there then, take your shaft and place it straight into the middle of this large vault, and then count on another 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and place down another shaft, and then coming around the back, have 2 more shafts going out the back of that one, and then going back towards your vault, go past the vault by 1 block and place down another shaft, and then connect these ones up with a belt, just like so. From there then, you can come just off the side of your vault and place down basins on both of these belts, 1 on either side, and then hop onto the belt and facing into your basin, crouch, jump and right click, and you'll place a press directly above each of these basins. So crouch, and then if you jump and right click, pointing into the basin, pop, it will come out in just the right place, pointing in the right direction. From here then, you can place down a chest at the end of your belt. You'll need to pop it onto some kind of building block. Oh, get rid of you too, pop a building block down. Chest on the end of each belt. This is where your final product is going to be gathering, and then have an andesite funnel going into the back of each of those. And then, still on the shorter of the 2 belts, coming straight out from your vault, you can have another funnel that's going to be bringing the flint out, and then place one going into the back of the basin as well, so the flint can come out and go straight into the basin. And then we can come back over to the longer of our 2 belts and make exactly the same thing. So you're going to have an andesite funnel going into the back of the basin, and you're also going to have one here on this central block of your vault, bringing the flint out and into the other basin. And then, still on the longer of our 2 belts, next to the andesite funnel, you'll need to place a brass one so that it is going into the vault. And to do that, you'll need to crouch when you place it. To check that it's going in the right direction, you can just look at the arrows which are on top of the funnels. So you can see there's a little arrow there, and that one is pointing into the vault, and there's a little arrow there, and that one is coming out from the vault. So you know that this one is going in, and that one is taking out. And then from there, place down a building block on the end of your belt, place a chest onto the top of that, and then have another brass funnel coming out from that chest and going into the vault. So this is where you're going to have the input for your flint in order to get it into the vault. It doesn't have to be from a chest, it could be coming from a farm. All that matters is that this is where flint is coming in. Next, each of our basins needs to have a hopper going into the side of it, and it also needs to have a chest on the top for inputting our gravel and our red sand, and you will need that to be on both of the basins, 1 on either side. Just like so. And then from there you can come up onto the sides and climb right up on top of the vault and have a look down in between your two basins and place a fluid pipe going between the two of them. Then place another fluid pipe on top of that to create a little T-junction, and then crouch and place a mechanical pump going into that pipe. You need to make sure that this little arrow is facing into the pipe to make sure that the lava is going to flow in this direction. From there then we'll build up our fluid container, and that is going to be a 2x2 going over the shorter of the two belts. So it's going over the opposite side to where you have your brass funnels. And that is going to be 3 tall, 1, 2 and 3. And then you can come up on top of your fluid container by crouching and jumping and clicking, making sure that that arrow is going down into the container. This is where our lava is going to be generated. From there then you can come up on top of your mechanical pipe, and you need to build up a network of 20 fluid pipes in a grid formation, or whatever shape you want to make really, but it's usually easiest if you make a grid. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6. And then once you've got your 20 fluid pipes all arranged, up on each of these you need to place down a cauldron, and don't worry, they will automatically connect up. You can see where the pipe has poked up there so that it is able to take lava directly from the cauldron. Just fill this one up with all 20 of them. Once those are in place, come above by one block with any kind of building block and fill in just above these. This is where you're going to be able to place down your dripstone. So we'll just fill up the top of here. And then underneath that, fill in so that there is a dripstone above every single cauldron with none of them missed out. And then from there, you'll need to put something in so that you can just trap the lava up here. Personally, I like to use trapdoors, so what I'll do is I will go around the edges, filling it in, and then on the top of each of these blocks, I'll be placing down a trapdoor. Just like so, and then removing the block from underneath them, because I just like the look of that. And then fill in all of the top with lava source blocks. Now as soon as you place down one, you'll find it is able to start gathering in the cauldrons below, so if you don't have easy access to lava, can't get into the nether or anything like that, you can just wait for those to fill up, but it's much easier if you just bucket them in as soon as possible. And then I've just capped mine off with a few stone slabs, just because it makes it look like it's got a little bit of a lid on there. That is all of the working components of the farm done though. Now we just need to get everything powered. And to do that we can come round the back of our machine and then in line with the base of the fluid container, place down 2 building blocks. It doesn't matter what you use, I'm just going to use glass because it's easy to see what I'm doing. Then place another one and come above your chest. That is just there as a temporary block, so you've got something to place the water wheels up against, and you'll pop down 2 of them so that they are rotating in a vertical direction. Then if we come back around, we can remove that temporary block that we placed and the one next to it, and you're going to place your rotation speed controller right up against the water wheel so that it is facing straight into it. You can see that there's the little shaft that is going straight through into the wheels. Then we can come up on top of our funnels to place the large wheel into the top of that. That will connect automatically to your rotation speed controller. And then come out from the large wheel of your rotation speed controller by using shafts. Place down 2 of these, moving in the direction of our container. Then place a vertical gearbox so that we're able to move a shaft out from the top of that as well. And then have a small cogwheel connecting up to the pump that is bringing lava down from the cauldrons. Then still with the small wheels, use that to connect straight onto the back of the mechanical press and then go across by 3 with the small wheels so that now both of these presses are powered, as is that mechanical pump. Then from here we'll set the speed of our rotation speed controller to the maximum that this system is able to handle, and that is all of 20. So we've not increased it by a huge amount more than what the rotation controller gives automatically as soon as you attach it, but it's plenty for a single player world. If you want a contraption that's just going to tick along in the background, making these bits and pieces for you. Next we'll get our belts powered up, so if we come over to the short belt side and we go past it to behind where our vault is, and we dig down by 2 blocks, you can place a water wheel down at the bottom of that, make a little tiny space so you've got area for the water to flow in, place a vertical gearbox up against this shaft in the further belt, and then connect those 2 with a little shaft going between the 2. And then you can place a water bucket down at the bottom. Watch your belts to make sure they're flowing in the right direction. They are both moving towards the end, so that's absolutely fine. If you find that it's going in the wrong direction, you'll find what you've probably done was you placed the water in that block rather than the first, and that will change the direction. So just make sure everything is flowing in the correct way. And then all we need to do is make sure that the water coming off our water wheels can flow somewhere. So I'm just going to block off the back of them so the water can't flow straight out the back. And if you place a couple of little holes down underneath just in front of your wheels, just like that, you'll find that the water just flows straight over them. There we go, nice and easy, and that is everything starting to power, and you can see it is drawing all of that lava through from the cauldrons up above. That'll start filling up our fluid container. And the last thing we need to do by coming back round to the front of our contraption is we just need to get some filters set up in our basins so that they can't produce anything untoward. Now, if you know exactly which one you want to do which, if for example you know that this side is always going to be producing granite and this side is always going to be producing andesite, you can just add both of those directly into the filter slots on the front and they will always produce exactly that. They'll never try to do anything else. The biggest concern usually comes from red sand, because if you end up with 4 of that in a basin without anything else to mix it, you'll find that the press just turns it into red sandstone, which isn't what we want, so you need to make sure you've got your granite filter in. If, on the other hand, you're going to be mixing these ones up, if you're not certain which one you want to go in which, if you want to be able to put gravel and red sandstone in either of these, then you can use one of the list filters instead, and then simply have that set so that it accepts both granite and andesite, and then you can place these on the front of your basins as well. That way, both basin is now able to create both of our outputs. Without further ado though, let's set this contraption off. So we need to pick one of each of our input chests on the side. You can have my red sand. That's then going to go straight through into the basin. Then if I come to the other side, I will pop my gravel in there. And then around the back, we can place our flint straight into here. All of that is then going to go into the vault, and then it'll just be spit out one at a time to go into the basins. Then if we go back around the front, we should see, as they start to fill up, all of our produce starts coming out. So as you can see, where the gravel went in onto the right hand side, that's producing our andesite, and where the red sand went into on the left hand side, that's making our granite for us. And by the way, in case you're wondering where on earth you can get an awful lot of red sand from, it doesn't exactly sound like the easiest of ingredients. You can make it very simply by crushing terracotta in either the large wheels or just the simple mills, and then that will make red sand for you. It's just much quicker if you do it in the bigger wheels. And that is it though. That's how you make this little contraption if you want to have a semi-automatic andesite and granite farm. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Happy Minecrafting everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye!